sinners, and saints. Dust off those horns and halos. It's time for Alan After Dark.
This morning, I found a $5 bill in the parking lot outside a retail store. I picked it up. I put it in the car with the decision that I was going to put it to good use. I want to make sure that it goes to someone that can use it more than me. I know what you're thinking. $5 is not that much money. But you know what? $5 is more than nothing. And I know that sounded sarcastically cliched, but that might mean a meal for someone. It might mean enough gas in the car to get them somewhere they need to go. It also reminded me how we all view life and, once again, people's perception of us. I remember this time at happy hour, this guy comes in, he's on his phone, and he's talking very loud. And it's clear that he wants us all to be able to hear him, i.e. overhear him speaking. And he's talking about the car he has, and he's like, this one only costs $60,000, and I'm not really that impressed with it. I think I'll take the convertible tomorrow and drive that. And I was just thinking, what the hell, man? You really think that we want to overhear your conversation? Then he sits down at the bar and he orders a drink with his phone still stuck to his ear. And he says, I need this quickly because I have to make another call here in a few minutes. So I'm going to have to drink this fast. I was just like, really? But in his mind, he thought that talking about those types of things and putting a dollar value to it would impress people, would impress us. And that's just an assumption he made. Maybe that kind of talk does impress some people, but it sure as hell doesn't impress me. In fact, quite the opposite. It totally annoys me. I think it's the dumbest thing you can do, is to talk about money and as if you've got a lot of it, thinking that we're going to be impressed with someone who claims to be rich. Well, I happen to know a few people that are wealthy, and the last thing they want to do is talk about their money. And there are some obvious reasons why you would not want to talk about how rich you are in public. First of all, to me, it's an invitation to be robbed. If the wrong person hears what you're talking about, they may see dollar signs and they may see an opportunity to rob you, or even more likely, kidnap you for a ransom. That's not out of the question these days, you know? It's been my experience, though. The people who talk about their money like that don't really have any. You know, I've been going through the differences in a person in need versus a person that's acting like they have no needs or no cares in the world. What if they're one and the same? What if you are Hyacinth Bouquet, the character on Keeping Up Appearances? All that matters is impressing your neighbors and your friends. That's all she cares about. That's what drives her personality. She thinks that she can really impress people with material things. But we all know people like that, don't we? We all do. To me, it's just one more flaw in our personalities, the traits of a human that really mean nothing. I guess I wonder if you're that type of person and you are bragging about the cars you own and how much money you make and you're trying to impress people with it. We're not talking about just casual conversation among friends. We're talking about saying these things in front of complete strangers. What do you think about at night? What do you do when no one's around to hear all this talk? How do you process that? What runs through your mind when you're laying in bed at night? Are you thinking that, wow, all those people at the bar, they really were impressed with me. I really made an impact on them. They won't ever forget me. Maybe that's what they do. Maybe that's what that personality type does. It's bewildering to me, though. And I also know that there are people that like to brag. And it's one of the things about social media that I really do dislike. There's a certain celebrity whose name is Sean Penn. I can remember that time during the flooding from Hurricane Katrina in New Orleans. He went down there with a camera crew And it just seemed to me that he was hoping to impress everyone. I'm this big Hollywood celebrity, and I'm down here in this flooded city, and I've got this boat, and I'm going to row out into the water and rescue people and make sure it's all on camera showing me do this. Maybe you helped people out of the water, but with that camera crew right there, it really did feel like you were just trying to say, look at me, look at all the good I'm doing. Think about what I'm doing. But did you make a difference with that? I know sometimes the effort is just to draw attention to a situation, a charitable event, something that is needed, that it might take a celebrity to expose it to a wider audience, and that could help bring in money. But sometimes it just feels so, what's the phrase? Self-aggrandizing, I guess. And I know what some of you would say. You would say, well, yeah, he was there with a camera crew, but he did rescue people. Maybe his motivation was not in the right place, but still, he did some good. He did get people out of the floodwaters. But I just am not impressed with those things. I think you do your charity work in private. You help people in private. You don't make it about yourself. And a lot of people do. This sounds really Freudian, doesn't it? Almost in relation to sex, if you will. I think a lot of it is ego driven, especially when it comes to gay men, when we are always like enthralled by the size of a man's penis and their looks, their physical appearance, and we worry about our own. And I don't know that I really want to get into that a lot tonight, but I guess we will, because I think it is an underlying factor in almost everything that we do. I think that Freud was right about a lot. Maybe you don't have the biggest wing dang doodle. Maybe you're not the prettiest person in the world. And trust me, honey, I can relate to that. So you try to grab attention in other ways. And one way would be to have lots of money, to have impressive cars, an impressive house. It's compensating for something that you think you lack, right? And of course I'm impressed with a guy who has a big wing dang doodle. Who isn't? But does it really matter to me? Is it really a factor in a relationship? For me, it's not. For others, it probably is. And I can remember one of my boyfriends that I really did have feelings for. He had a sexual drive that was beyond compare, beyond anything that I've ever seen before. He wanted sex as many times as he could get it. It did not matter that he had a boyfriend. If he saw a guy that he wanted, he was going to go after him, period. It didn't matter what the consequences were. He was going to get that guy's pants off. I have to remember now that it was how our relationship got started, actually. I've told the story before, but I'm going to tell it again because it kind of fits this theme tonight, I believe. So I was an active club goer, and going through high school, I was always the ugly kid. I was the one that people just absolutely didn't hesitate to say it to my face, that I was not attractive. And when I come out to the clubs and I realized that I wasn't as ugly as I was led to believe, I did go hog wild. And it really was when I discovered alcohol too, of course. So, a few drinks can loosen your tongue quite a bit. So the club I used to go to, I've told you this before, in the summertime, it would be packed and it would get really hot in the club. It just would be so many people that their air conditioning couldn't control it that well. So if you, like me, were dancing a lot, you'd get hot and sweaty. Well, you went outside to the front. There was these set of steps that led to an exterior entrance to the second floor. And we all used to sit out there just to cool off and chill and chat maybe, because it wasn't loud. You could actually hold a conversation without yelling so much. So I was out there cooling off, and I had had a few drinks, and a friend of mine came out and was sitting beside me, and there were these two guys standing over, chatting amongst themselves, and my friend was saying which one he liked. And Of course, me being a little tipsy, my mouth was a little bit louder than it should have been. And I just pointed, I said, well, he's not my type. He is. They heard me. The guy that I pointed to is the guy that I'm talking about with this appetite for sex that could never be satisfied. That's who I'm talking about. That was enough for him to come over and say hi, much to the chagrin of the guy with him. Now, I had no idea that the guy with him was technically his boyfriend. So anyway, he comes over and his boyfriend's kind of glaring at me. Okay, but let me just say this. The way he looked at me, the boyfriend, I swear to God, he was going to kick me in the camel toe. If looks could fucking kill, I would have been in every murder scene in the Final Destination series. I would have been run over by a train, backed over by a station wagon, left for dead in a fire anthill. I would have been defanged, de-dicked, or castrated. That's a better word. He looked at me with total hate in his eyes, as if I had committed the ultimate felony against his asshole. God damn, I sounded very dramatic there, didn't I? Jesus. But do you all think that that was really going to scare me off? A hateful, nasty, killer look? No, because I realized, even in my buzzed state, that based on the boyfriend's reaction, this guy that I was getting ready to hook up with had done it to him many times before. I was just the latest in a long line of fuck buddies. You know, come to think about it, he may have had a sex addiction. But I digress. So anyway, he and I start chatting a little bit, and I just said, I would love to go out with you sometime if you want to give me your number. And that was it. His friend grabbed him. They disappeared back in the club. I went back and I was dancing on the dance floor. I was having a great time. Well, lo and behold, about an hour later, on a crowded dance floor, here he comes and he hands me a piece of paper. He just leans into my ear and says, call me sometime. And the rest is a disaster. But yeah, we actually started dating, and I realized that his sexual appetite was more than even I could handle. And it led to the disastrous ending of that relationship. Even after we were broken up, he called me, he wanted to see me, and I went up to where he was living, and we did it 3 times back to back. Yeah. I wonder about him, though. He is my age now, and there is no way that his libido is the same. But everything about him was centered on his sexual attractiveness. He had to be the best looking guy in the club. And by the way, he was. He was very attractive. But he always looked through that filter, the filter of sex, for everything in his life. Everything came back to how he was the prettiest guy in high school, and his fear that his looks were fading, and that he would not be able to conquer as many guys as he had in the past. I really do wonder what he's doing now. I wonder how that affects you. I guess it would be devastating, wouldn't it? You get older, you might have erectile dysfunction. Things don't work anyway on the best of times. Every one of us have had issues. And I mean, looks may fade, but if that is your driving force in your whole life and you have nothing that you've planned to fall back on, what does that mean for you? Do you start taking other approaches, like claiming to be rich, claiming to have a big dick or something like that, when you actually don't? I could tell on him. Oh, hell, I will. I remember one time catching him. He was actually patting his butt.
I'm sorry, what?
He had those things that you can put in that makes your butt more round. He did that. Well, just a couple of times, and I kind of scolded him that his ass was fine without all that extra padding. And I get it, though. I mean, it's no different than you wearing a wig or something, right? A toupee. If it makes you feel better, that's great. But I think you can go too far, don't you think? And it wouldn't be the best thing, I think, for your mind, for your mindset. But who am I to judge, though? That's your life. And if it makes you happy, it can't be that bad. Right? I don't know. Tell that to Hannibal Lecter. So for me, the $5 I found in the parking lot, it represents a lot to me. This is going to sound really metaphysical, I guess. I'm always humbled by how I'm reminded how well I have it now. I'm not being bombed out of my house in Ukraine or Gaza or Rwanda. I have a roof over my head. I have a job that affords me the lifestyle that I want. I have a car that is reliable. I have friends that are great. I have it so much better than so many people that hopefully, as I'm going through these rough times, it'll help me stay grounded and realize that even through these tough times, I have it better than probably 90% of the people on this planet. That's a wonderful thing to be able to say. I mean, here I am in the comfort of my own home recording a podcast. Doesn't get too much more frivolous than that, does it? Because I guess most of you, all 12 of you that are listening, would view this as a vanity project, wouldn't you? I've got some nerve having a weekly program to whine about all the shit I go through as a gay man. Huh? But I'm having fun. And we have fun, don't we? Don't we? Sure we do.
Yes.
No.
I just wish I could figure out a way to record in different environments that could make it even more adventurous. Oh, but I could never be, like those YouTube and TikTok influencers. Wasn't there one of these guys, he was a big influencer, and he was doing some sort of stairway to heaven kind of deal on a mountainside, and he didn't have a harness or anything, and he fell to his death? I don't think I could ever push my limits that way, because that's just about him topping himself, right? You're trying to produce material that people will watch. You need clicks, you need views to stay at that level of celebrity. That's a whole other can of worms to open now, isn't it? But it is fascinating to look at the people that are social media celebrities. God, there's tons of them, aren't there? I wonder how they'll feel when that goes away. Nobody's always going to be on top. You'll never be able to keep yourself at the pace and level that you're going. I've noticed a couple of my favorite reaction channels on YouTube where they watch movies, listen to music, and provide their reactions to it. I love those, and there's a few that I really do enjoy very much. And they have been very big as far as their audience goes. But I've also noticed that they've been slipping. I wonder if they feel that pressure. I mean, I know I do. And I'm just putting together like a 20 to 30 minute program each week. I really want it to be good for you guys. I want you to have a laugh or have an emotional reaction. I just don't do it just to think that I'm going to become a millionaire, a superstar. Hell's bells, I know that that's not going to happen. But I do enjoy chatting with you guys on a weekly basis, and I hope you enjoy listening to me. All of you out there in Palm Springs, those of you in the Ukraine and England and all over Tennessee and Virginia and California and Nova Scotia. I really do enjoy knowing that there are people around the world that listen to me at least once. But maybe everything that we do in our whole lives is all ego-driven. You think? Maybe it is. But I have to just say, if you sit down at the bar beside me and you're on your phone and you're bragging about how much the car you drive costs and how much you're going to spend on a vacation to the south of France. What was that song that Shania Twain sang? What was that lyric? So you're Brad Pitt. That don't impress me much. And here we are again at the end of an episode of Alan After Dark. Oh, time flies when you're full of shit. But I hope you've had a good time. I've had fun talking to you, chatting it up, and I hope you've gotten a little bit of entertainment out of this whole train wreck of an episode. But if not, tune in next week and you're going to hear me unleash a rant that you've never heard before. But until then, remember, take life by the balls and be real. We'll see you soon.